is Trump onto something?
No. Oh, sorry. No. Did you want me to? You had. There was a longer question there.
It was a longer. Yeah. I mean, okay. So here, let me.
Yeah. Sorry.
Onto something or on something? I just want to clarify those.
Let me make the case as Trump sees it.
Go ahead.
Okay. The United States invested an enormous amount of blood, sweat, and tears, literally.
Right.
Many Americans killed in building the Panama Canal into this incredibly critical thoroughfare, right? China is trying to come in and basically buy its way into dominance in the Panama Canal.
Right.
Panama is seeing the dollar signs and saying, oh, maybe we might sidle up to China. Is there a national security imperative for the United States to reverse that trend?
Right. So, we agreed, the United States agreed to hand over control of the Panama Canal to the Panama people and to the government of Panama in the 70s, 50 years ago. And that's not up for renegotiation. There's no scenario under which we could get it back, even if we wanted to, other than invading Panama, which is a very stupid scenario.
It is a scenario, though.
But not a scenario that would actually happen in real life in 2025. So what Trump is really talking about is, yes, there's a kernel of a real issue here, which is that the Chinese have invested heavily in the maintenance of the canal that we purchased and that we built and that we abandoned. And now they've given the government of Panama $1 billion for a bridge. They've gotten the contracts through a fair process to manage the ports. And the reason that Central and South American countries are leaning towards China is because China approaches them with investment and with money, and we approach them with threats and stupid threats at that. And if you were Panama, which one would you choose? So this is not only the completely wrong way to approach the U.S. relationship with Panama, it's the completely wrong way to approach the U.S. competition with China, because anywhere you go in the world, there's a Chinese company or the Chinese government offering incentives. And if Donald Trump is going to go around offering threats and, threats that are not credible at that, of course these countries are going to go towards China. That's exactly what happened. Xi Jinping went right back to the government of Panama and said, we're with you. We stand with the sovereignty of Panama. And they're actually on the right side of the issue. We're on the wrong side of the issue. And that's really, again, a really unforced error.
I really did not have threats against Panama and Greenland.
Right. Is this a priority, by the way? Is there nothing else going on in the world?
Well, he says, Trump says, as he announces his ambassador to Greenland, for the purposes of national security and freedom throughout the world, the United States of America feels that the ownership and control of Greenland is an absolute necessity. I mean, does Trump envision Greenland, Panama, Canada as opportunities for the United States to go back into an era of colonialism where we just take what we want?
Abby, this is all part of ending the forever wars by threatening new forever wars everywhere else to get us out of the old ones. On the issue of Panama, they used to be allies with Taiwan. They ended their relationship with Taiwan. They've joined China's Belt and Road Initiative. They've got Chinese-controlled ports on both sides of them. There's a reason for the U.S. to be paying attention to this. And with Trump, you basically have three settings. You have outright strikes, like killing Soleimani in Iraq way back towards the end of his first term. You have threats and bluster, or you have ignoring them. Threats and bluster are as close as we're going to get to paying attention to Central America and to this region. So look, as bad as this is, as ominous as this is, we know that Trump the entire first term, he talked about we were going to acquire Greenland. And he retweeted the image of a Trump casino on the empty plains of Greenland. I think he just liked that. I think he just likes the idea of acquiring things. But I noticed in the first Trump term, we did not acquire any new territories. We did not invade any other place. We took a few strikes here and there. We did much against ISIS.
But we did damage a bunch of alliances, and that's what we're doing here. We're damaging our alliance with Denmark for no reason, over a bunch of stupidity. We're damaging our partnership with Panama for no reason, over a bunch of stupidity. And it just goes on and on from there.
But are we really damaging it, though? I mean, I get that Donald Trump... Well, yeah, that's sad that, remember Justin Trudeau, after Donald Trump threatened tariffs, Justin Trudeau ended up going down to Mar-a-Lago. I think that this idea that world leaders, I think you're now seeing that when Donald Trump, when he was over at the over in France, you saw world leaders coming to Donald Trump and realizing that he's the president of the United States. I do agree with this idea that Donald Trump, this is more of a signal. we're not going to get Greenland. Let's just be clear. We're not going to get the
Really?
Panama. We're not going to get the Panama Canal. So anybody thinking that we're going to get it, we're literally not going to get it. But I think that Donald Trump drawing attention to the issue that you mentioned about China's influence, but not just in the Panama Canal, but around the world, the Belt and Road Initiative. What China is doing in places all around the world is, while the United States may go in aggressively and build military establishment, China is actually building infrastructure, partnering with places even in Africa to build infrastructure. So I think that Donald Trump, we're not going to get Greenland, but I think he is in a way trying to draw attention to this thing.
But what he's doing does not go to the end that he says he wants to work on, which is actually competing with China in a smart and strategic way. He's doing it in a ridiculously stupid way to, yes, garner press, garner social media attention. His base loves it. But he's actually doing what he has always done, which is lie to his voters, lie to the people that support him, because he thinks they're stupid, or he is stupid. Because the way that he's engaging in this is not in the best interest of the national security of the United States, or even the economic security of the United States.
People said the very same thing about Donald Trump throughout his time, even when he was president. The fact that Donald Trump
was true.
The fact it may be true, but 76 million Americans said we don't have a problem with your characterization.
Just because they voted for cheaper eggs doesn't mean they want to invade Panama.
It doesn't mean that they're wrong, though. It doesn't mean
they may want cheaper eggs, but it doesn't mean they want to invade Panama. Okay, so these are two different things. Right?
Nobody signed up.
So let's not say the American people voted for
up for that.
And think about
That's exactly right.
Think about what happened in the first
One
term.
at a time, please. We can't all hear you at the same time.
Sorry. Think about what happened in the first term. He threatened a bunch of countries. Sometimes the extortion works, right? Sometimes the countries paid up to the threats. That doesn't mean it's a good thing to do. That doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It's like if Tony Soprano ran a country. Oh, nice canal that you got there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. Sometimes people will buckle under that pressure, but that's not what American foreign policy should or is supposed
should
to be.
we take seriously and embolden Trump really actually legitimately seeing just acquisition as in his future? He didn't do it in the first term. I don't think we can rule out that he's not going to attempt it.
This is a mild version of the madman theory, that you really never know exactly what Trump is going to do. That old saying, take him seriously but not literally. Look, we're not invading Panama today. We're probably not going to invade Panama anytime soon. But there's that back of the mind of every world leader, that question of, well, what will Trump do? I hope, Trump was willing to take out Soleimani on Iraqi soil, that the U.S. had several opportunities to take beforehand, but it was deemed kind of provocative and risky. Donald Trump is not afraid of being provocative. Every move in Ukraine with the Biden administration, there's been this hesitation about do we want to be escalatory? Will it be seen as provocative by Vladimir Putin? Donald Trump doesn't care if anybody sees him as provocative.
Right, but being provocative and thuggish with enemies is one thing. Being provocative and thuggish with allies is a completely different thing, okay? And if you want to be tough on Iran, I don't think you'll get a lot of people behind that. If you want to be tough on Putin, and I hope President Trump decides someday to be tough on Putin, you'll get a lot of people behind that. Being tough on Canada, okay, that's a different ball of wax. And unpredictability is only good if it's intentional.